There we go. You know what? I was talking this whole time and I had the mic muted. So everyone probably thought this was dead air. And it's not dead air. But the show hasn't started officially yet. I'm going to give it just a couple of moments. I'm going to see. I don't even know. I wonder how I can tell where. Oh, there we go. All right, that works. That works. I like the looks of that. Oh, that's why. Okay, I got you now. And then this will be edited, and I'll cut it down, and it will be available for download on the iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, the regular podcast section. So, and all right, you know what? I think it's time to officially get the show started. So here we go.
This wall's been building in your mind, but you'll find a way to live these dreams you hold inside. You can't just live within your grasp, 'cause what's out of reach are all the things that you were meant to be. I will lay you down, and I'll show you how to close your eyes and see beyond the doubt in everything you see.
There we go. Folks, thank you for joining. We are live for the Pro Slam World Podcast, live on the internet, live through Spreaker. And join up on Spreaker. Definitely give us a like, give us a follow, because this is where the hottest professional wrestling podcast is today. And with that, we're going to talk. We got two huge shows. One that happened last week, one that's coming up. We're talking tonight. We're going to talk New Japan's foray onto American soil with the G1 Special in USA, which was a 2-night tournament to crown the first ever IWGP United States Champion. And of course, this Sunday, WWE pay-per-view, Raw's exclusive pay-per-view, the oddly named Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, which goes to show Vince may not be good with pay-per-view names, but he's still good at putting together a card, because that card is solid. And since I'm completely 100% live, all flubs, all mistakes, everything's going to be out in the open. But definitely join on Spreaker and post. I'd love to see your chat. Love to know your thoughts about New Japan's G1 Special in USA. Hopefully you watched it live on Access last Friday. Actually, tomorrow, or when the podcast drops tonight, but July 7th will be night 2 on Access television, so you can definitely check us. So that one's tape delayed. Last week was live, but the second night with tape delay, so there will be some spoilers. I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert. We're going to talk about night 2 of New Japan. We're going to talk about the rest of the United States tournament to crown the first IWGP US champion. So I tell you in advance, spoiler alert. But before we get into that, of course, I will always be remiss if I fail to mention, of course, one of the biggest shows that I'm going to be a part of, and that is really going to be a part of all of us, hopefully, because one of the best independent promotions in the United States is coming back Saturday night, September 30th. That's right. I'm mentioning it again. Pro Wrestling Syndicate, Refuse to Lose. Saturday night, September 30th in Metuchen. I am never going to pronounce that correctly. I'm telling you right now. New Jersey, 215 Durham Avenue. Zip code 08840. There you go. Google it. Tremendous card, tremendous lineup. Card subject to change. But we have in a huge main event, for the first time ever, Sabu and Big Van Vader go 1-on-1 in New Jersey, Saturday night, September 30th. Just a couple other matches. Pro Wrestling Syndicate tag team titles are on the line when the Handicapped Heroes go up against the Urban Legends. Teddy Hart and Devin Moore 1-on-1. Matt Cross and MVP. You want to talk about IWGP? MVP's the first ever IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He'll be at Pro Wrestling Syndicate Refuse to Lose. And if you've been watching, if you've been following along, especially with one of the owners of Pro Wrestling Syndicate, Frank Mayer, he's been posting up some videos, not only from Maria Manic, but also there was a video shot back to her from Missy Sampson. Now, the two of them are in a triple threat match with Brittany Savage. And that's all going down Saturday night, September 30th. The front row is gone, but excellent tickets are still available at ProWrestlingSyndicate.com. I'll be there, and I hope to see you there. So again, we're going live here. I'm working without a net tonight, folks. And again, if you have your posts, comment about your thoughts on what we talk about tonight. Comment on your thoughts on angles, past, present, maybe those you'd like to see in the future. You want to pick my brain about wrestling? Go right ahead. I think I'm pretty good. I'll be honest. I'm more WWE, but I got my fair share of knowledge. I'll drop on you when I can, if you will. Dusty Rhodes. But let's talk about, first of all, the land of the rising sun making their way to U.S. soil with New Japan's first major U.S. show, the G1 Special in USA. It was a 2-night event, July 1st and July 2nd. And it was, both nights were sellouts from what I heard. It was at the Long Beach Convention and Entertainment Center in Long Beach, California. Night 1 was basically the first round to crown the first ever IWGP United States champion. Also, they had a few, they had a 8-man tag. I think they had a 10-man tag. The IWGP tag team titles were on the line. We'll talk about that. And the main event, which was one of the best main events I've seen in a long, long time, Okada and Cody for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But before we get into the main event, let's talk about the rest of the card that night. First of all, to see New Japan finally making it to the United States, look, call me a fanboy, but let's call it like it is. WWE is the wrestling promotion on the planet. They're number one. And not even maybe, if you don't even want to look at it from a wrestling point of view, but just from a stronghold, from where their footprint is in society, they are number one. Pretty much everybody knows WWE. So that makes them number one. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Number two in the world is New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's probably happened within the last 2 years, 2.5 years. And probably some of that has to do with their work, with their when they co-work with Ring of Honor. But this was a full 100% New Japan show in Long Beach, California. Trust me when I tell you, I definitely was contemplating getting tickets. Buddy of mine, Anthony from the Retro Gamers, my other podcast, he lives out in L.A., and I don't think Long Beach is that far from Los Angeles. I'm not sure. But I honestly thought about flying out there, but with the holiday weekend, it would have been a hump to come back. But let's talk about the evening. First of all, the show opened with a 10-man tag match. It was the Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, the newest member of the Bullet Club, the villain, Marty Scurll, and one of my current favorites to watch in the ring. He's very entertaining. Takahashi, and of course, the Young Bucks, the IWGP Junior tag team champions. They took on Chaos, represented by Roppongi Vice, Beretta, and Rocky Romero. Will Ospreay, who, if you haven't seen Will Ospreay work, you may be living under a rock if you're into professional wrestling. He had that match last year at the Juniors tournament, right? No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a G1 tournament. It was a Juniors tournament with Ricochet. It was all over the place as far as popularity and what they did in that match. I mean, if you're into high-flying flips, flops, and everything in between, check out Will Ospreay, especially that match with Ricochet. But check out Will Ospreay because he will, he'll definitely do it for you. He is in Ring of Honor, so you can definitely catch him a lot there. Rounding out the 5-man team on that side for Chaos was Mark and Jay Briscoe. Now, you also got to remember, even though this is a New Japan show, there are a good handful of Ring of Honor guys there. But again, this is more Ring of Honor loaning them to New Japan. And I say that because the guys who wrestle for ROH, they had a pay-per-view a week prior to this, probably. I think so. I think it was like that Friday before, which will come into play later on when we talk about the main event. But with this match, it was just, there's 10 guys involved in the match. It's impossible to even describe pretty much what the match consists of other than just nonstop action. New Japan is nonstop action. And if you can, go back, watch this on, I'm guessing it's on some sort of demand through Access TV, njpwworld.com. Chaos, though, they definitely were the better team because they did come out on top. It was, yeah. Again, we're live, folks. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of it's hard to check the feed. It's hard to produce and engineer and host the show all at the same time, so forgive me here. But Chaos going over the Bullet Club, and it was kind of funny. I mean, I was shocked to see, A, the Bullet Club open the show, B, the Bullet Club lose, and it was pretty funny because I think it was Matt Jackson who was like, can't lose on TV. Can't lose on TV. We have Hot Topic merchandise. We have a Hot Topic deal. Which, by the way, you can now buy Bullet Club gear at Hot Topics. I got to get to Hot Topics because I got to get myself a Marty Scurll Bullet Club shirt, which will hopefully be a little less expensive than buying it at Ring of Honor, or let alone any live show. So after a 10-man tag, there was an 8-man tag. New Japan loves their tag team matches, and if you never watch New Japan, you would quickly going to learn that. Los Ingobernables de Japón. Dang it. If it's not English, I can't say it. Los Ingobernables de Japón, which was Bushi, Evil, Tanahashi, and Sanada, went up against Dragon Lee, Voldor Jr., Titan. They're all from CMLL. Sound like JR. You kind of stumbled across that too. Rounding out that quadtuplic was the legend that is Jushin Thunder Liger. Liger's been in wrestling for over 30 years. And, you know, for a while, I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought, and I don't know if this is true or not, so this is just me being me, I kind of always thought maybe Jushin Thunder Liger has been around because of the full body suit and the mask. So may not necessarily be the same Jushin Thunder Liger, but after watching more and more of him, especially between New Japan and Ring of Honor, I'm starting to think it's the same guy, and I am sorely mistaken. So, unfortunately, though, the team of Jushin Thunder Liger and CMLL participants fell to Tanahashi and his group. Los Ingobernables de Japón came out on top on that one. Then, after that, we started the tournament. It was a single elimination tournament. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, there was 8 competitors in the tournament. So the first round was night 1. Basically, the first round went as follows. It was Michael Elgin against Kenny Omega, Jay Lethal against Hangman Page, Juice Robinson, you may remember from NXT, against the current reigning Evolve champion, Zack Sabre Jr., and Tomohiro Ishii against Tetsuya Naito. I'm never good with the Japanese names. I can watch for 100 years. I can never usually nail it down. This tournament, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Just the first round alone was so entertaining. It's ridiculous, and it's worth the price of admission. It was worth the fly out to California. And I heard that between the two nights in California, 75% of the crowd, now that's 5,000 people over 2 nights. You got to imagine easily 3/4 of them went to both shows. But still, 75% of the crowd at this New Japan show, G1 Special in USA, were from outside of California. That is amazing, and that is a testament to New Japan, a group primarily in Japan, hence New Japan Pro Wrestling, making their impact on American soil. That is huge. So, of course, New Japan wanted to introduce the United States Championship. And here's where the tournament opened with Jay Lethal and Hangman Page, with their feud coming over from Ring of Honor, finding its way into New Japan. Jay Lethal coming out on top over Hangman Page. In the next tournament match, Zack Sabre Jr. Now, this is a man who holds, I believe, 3 championships right now, one of which, like I mentioned, is the Evolve Championship. So we're not just seeing guys from New Japan. We're not seeing guys on loan from Ring of Honor only. We're seeing guys from all over the wrestling world. And that's what's awesome about New Japan. And that's what's awesome about this show. Zack Sabre Jr., Juice Robinson. Now, Juice Robinson was, what was his name in NXT? CJ, I don't want to say CJ Perry because I feel like that is CJ from we're live from Baywatch. CJ, it is CJ Parker. Oh, CJ Parker, I said CJ Perry. So he was CJ Parker in NXT, but since leaving NXT, going to New Japan, he's now Juice Robinson, and he's making a name for himself, and he's making a name for himself big time. I mean, he went toe-to-toe with Zack Sabre Jr., and Zack Sabre Jr. is a submission machine. He knows what he's doing. He knows his way in and around those ropes, in and around the squared circle. But it was, and there's a reason why Zack Sabre Jr. currently holds 2, if not 3 championships. He defeated Juice Robinson, the only, I'll tell you right now, spoiler alert, the only tap out of the entire tournament. So congratulations, Zack Sabre Jr. making his way to night 2 in the tournament. Bit of a break in the tournament as it went back to an 8-man tag team match. It was Jay White, David Finlay, Tanahashi, the current IWGP Intercontinental Champion, and Kushida, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion and Ring of Honor World Television Champion, took on Billy Gunn, Yoshitatsu, and the Tempura Boys, Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu. David Finlay, that name may sound familiar. The son of Fit Finlay. Tanahashi, Kushida, tremendous both in ROH and in New Japan. But the biggest name out of this whole match was Billy Gunn, especially because on night 2, the following night of this tournament, Billy Gunn had an opportunity against Tanahashi for the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, which I think is great for Billy Gunn. It's great to see his career resurged. I mean, he's still in fighting shape. The man is fit as could be. And it was just great to see Billy Gunn in the ring. He did, of course, it just goes without saying, DX, the New Age Outlaws, one of my favorite tag teams of all time, is the New Age Outlaws. And then his time at the Performance Center before being let go. So to see him back in the ring, especially in this younger group, because Billy's up there, let's face facts, but in this kind of new world of New Japan, of this strong style. But Billy Gunn held his own. Not enough, though, because it was Jay White, David Finlay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kushida who came out with the victory over the Hunter Club, which is Billy Gunn and Yoshitatsu, and the Tempura Boys. I've seen the Tempura Boys. The last couple of Ring of Honor pay-per-views I went to, the Tempura Boys wrestled on the taping for ROH TV before the pay-per-view. Those guys are good. Those guys are young. They're hungry. We're going to see a lot more of them as time goes on. Let's continue on. In a no disqualification match for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, it was Gorillas of Destiny, Bullet Club's own Tama Tonga and Tangaroa. Those are the sons of Haku, if you didn't know that. They took on War Machine Hansen and Raymond Rowe. Bottom line, no DQ match. These four men laid it all on the line. Chairs, tables, hard hits, everything you can think of. But it was War Machine walking out the new IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Let's go back to first round action for the United States tournament. In the only match comprising of two Japanese wrestlers, Tomohiro Ishii and Tetsuya Naito. Naito, I was just listening to Steve Austin's podcast with, you know him as Cyrus, the Jackal. He actually also does commentary with Kevin Kelly on New Japan with their pay-per-views. So Don Callis. And what Don Callis said is, with Naito, he speaks very little English, but he doesn't have to speak English for his charisma to come across for every fan in the world to know what he's all about and to enjoy his actions in the ring. Naito is one of the most charismatic guys in wrestling today. What he did when he was Intercontinental Champion, showing even actually when he was World Champion as well, he did the same thing. Showing disrespect to the belt, dragging it to the ring, kicking it to the ring, and especially in Japan, that honor, that code of honor, to have it to basically spit in its face, destroying the Intercontinental Championship. Naito just pops off the page, and you can't help but either really, really love him or absolutely hate him. And that's what you need to do in professional wrestling. It's either one or the other. If you're lukewarm in the middle, you're gonna sink like there's no tomorrow. But in this match, and I honestly thought Naito would go over, but shockingly, in my opinion, Ishii was the one that took on Naito and beat him and moved on to night 2 of the tournament. In one of the matches of the night, probably the match of the night, in the final match of the first round for the U.S. Championship, Kenny Omega and Michael Elgin. I said it earlier when I was talking about the 10-man tag. There was so many guys involved in that match. It's hard to really get into what the match was all about. But these two put on a clinic that discussing it would not even do it justice. The match went 22 minutes. Other than the main event, it was the longest match of the night. And they didn't stop. They did not slow down. Kenny Omega was coming off January, went about 40-plus minutes with Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. Last month, did a 1-hour Broadway with Okada. And it's not like they slowed down to try and take a break or take a breather. They kept going. Kenny Omega, and I'm not just saying this, I'm being honest. YouTube Kenny Omega. Watch his matches. He is probably by far the best wrestler on the planet today to not hold a world heavyweight championship. The man deserves the title. I know he's in a title tournament currently, but the time has to come for him to get the belt, whether it's from Okada Cody or anyone else who may be champion at the time, Kenny Omega is the guy. And I got news for you, and this is coming from me. I don't know how he would translate if he went into WWE. I don't know how he would translate if he went to NXT, because I feel like he would do better in NXT than the main roster. But what he's doing for Bullet Club, what he's doing for himself, what he's doing for New Japan, I don't know if Vince would let the reins go, no pun intended, for Roman, on him. It's hard to tell, but I'd love to see him in WWE, because I'd love to see him at WrestleMania. But in the meantime, Omega and Elgin, false finish after false finish after false finish. Finally, Omega hit his finisher for the 1-2-3, and he advanced into the tournament onto night 2. The match of the evening, the main event for the IWGP Championship. It was Okada going one-on-one with the newly crowned Ring of Honor World Champion, the American Nightmare Cody. And he had his wife, Brandy Rhodes, in his corner. This match, another one, like Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, the best thing he did, even though I'd love to see him back in the WWE, but the best thing he did was leave the WWE to almost find himself, maybe? And to really do what he loves, what's in his blood, what's in his family, and that's wrestle. And this match, I missed the match with him and Christopher Daniels at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I was to make sure I was not going to miss this match. It went about 27 minutes. Cody working the psychology factor. He was slow. He was methodical. He was vicious. He spit in the face of authority, literally. Bullet Club coming down. Looks like there's a thing going on between Cody and Kenny Omega as far as who's the leader of the Bullet Club. Brandy Rhodes even getting involved. Kenny trying to get Brandy to throw in the towel to end the match, because I guess Omega wants Okada to himself to win the title. But and the crowd was on their feet from moment one. And shockingly, the crowd was behind Okada. I would have thought they'd be behind Cody. Hometown hero, home country hero. It was coming up on 4th of July weekend, but no, Okada had that group in the palm of his hands. Cody did too, but he wanted them to boo, and they sure did. Okada, still the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Now, night 2 has already happened, but it will air. It aired live on NJPWWrestling.com, but it will air, obviously, on tape delay, but in its entirety on Access TV Friday night, July 7th. So, again, I'm spoiler alert warning. I haven't seen any of these matches, but let's go through the card right now and basically see what happened. Shockingly, a 6-man tag team match. Looks like there was a bunch of 6-man. New Japan loves their tag matches. It's amazing. It's wild. Jushin Thunder Liger, David Finlay, and Kushida defeated the Tempura Boys and Yoshitatsu. In semifinal round action for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, this match I wish I saw. Kenny Omega defeats Jay Lethal. In another match, I'm dying to see. I may have to... I didn't say this yet. So, I have Optimum Online out here on Long Island, and they do not have Access TV, which is ridiculous. So, what I did was, I went to Sling TV, which is a great over the air like internet cable provider. If you want to cut the cord, I definitely suggest Sling or PlayStation View, but I went with Sling on this one. And did a free 7-day trial. So, and I got to watch the first night live. I even taped it just in case. But then when I canceled my subscription because I didn't want it to renew after 7 days, I did not realize that it canceled right away. So I will not be watching night 2 on Access TV. But that's why I'm checking this out here. So again, spoiler alerts. Tomohiro Ishii, the bigger man, defeating Zack Sabre Jr. to move on to the finals of the IWGP US Championship. Yes, a Canadian and a Japanese wrestler will vie for the United States Championship on U.S. soil. Take it for what it's worth. 10-man tag team match. Dragon Lee, Jay White, Juice Robinson, Titan, and Volador Jr. defeated Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Evil, Hiromu, Tanahashi, Sanada, and Naito. Naito find his way in there. In a 6-man tag. Good Lord with these tag matches. The Bullet Club represented by Hangman Page and the former heavyweight tag team champions, Tama Tonga and Tangaroa. They actually defeated Michael Elgin and War Machine. Boy, Elgin went 0-2 this weekend. That's tough. I mean, Elgin puts on a show, but go 0-2? Rough. That's okay. The Young Bucks successfully defended their tag team titles, their junior heavyweight tag team titles, against Roppongi Vice in what I heard was a great, great match. In an 8-man tag match, again, the Bullet Club. This time it's Bad Luck Fale, Cody, Marty Scurll, and Tanahashi. Defeated. They were successful over Jay Briscoe, Okada, Mark Briscoe, and Will Ospreay. I'm curious who got the pin against who. Let's see. Nope, I'm not sure there, but it'd be interesting if Cody got the win over Okada in that tag match. So, very, very interesting. IWGP Intercontinental Championship, Tanahashi defeats Billy Gunn. And finally, in the finals, to crown the first ever IWGP United States champion, it was the man, the myth, the legend, you know it, Kenny Omega defeats Tomohiro Ishii to become the United States champion for New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was the G1 special in USA. I'm going to take a short minute break to listen to some more of the opening, Don't Give Up by Neil Cross, and then we'll be back to talk about Great Balls of Fire. I can't play that song. That'll cost me too much money. So, here we go.
It's going right. Don't let your heart start to bend. Don't give up the fight. You cannot live by what you see. Only believe when everything just seems so hard to bear. And no one in this world just seems to care. You've got to find a reason why you breathe and never let go of your destiny. I will lay you down and I'll show you how to close your eyes and see beyond the doubt. And everything you see is okay.
All right, just need to take just a quick moment there to regroup. And this live gig is tough, man, especially when you don't have any paid sponsors. So, you know, I'm not going to do there. But anyway, with that being said, this Sunday, for the first time ever, will be WWE Great Balls of Fire. God help us, when we first heard the name of this pay-per-view, I'm sure we all thought it was a joke. I still think it's silly. Stupidest name ever. But, as stupid as it is, it's got one of the most stacked cards I've seen in a while. Especially for a Raw brand pay-per-view. And let's get just right into it. Let's talk about it here. Titles are on the line. Feuds are starting. Maybe feuds are going to be ending. So let's check it out. For the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, Neville will defend against Titus Worldwide member Akira Tozawa. Kind of like how Titus O'Neil is like recruiting these guys. And like how Titus is a kind of a heel, but not really. And, you know, Tozawa is a face. Apollo Crews is a face. But Neville's been on a roll, man, since he's been Cruiserweight champ. He is the king of the Cruiserweights. And we'll see if Neville can retain the title against the hard-hitting Akira Tozawa. Ha! 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 In some singles action, Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt will go 1-on-1. Also, in a match that you knew it was going to happen. You knew eventually it was going to go this way. It just feels too soon. Like a year and a half later, after they made it to the main roster that finally split. That I don't agree with as much. But Enzo Amore and Big Cass are going to blow off some steam this Sunday at Great Balls of Fire. In an ambulance match. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Maybe in a couple years. Roman Reigns and the unstoppable Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is one of the best things happening on Raw and one of the worst things for Roman Reigns. Because Strowman's like the only guy, probably besides Lesnar, who can physically toss Roman Reigns around like a child. And it has been phenomenal. Fantastic. As far as the ambulance match is concerned, no holds barred. You gotta throw your opponent, beat him to the point where you have to throw him into the back of an ambulance and the ambulance leaves the arena onto the local medical facility. I mean, that's in Braun Strowman's wheelhouse. But are they gonna let Braun go over when Roman already announced he wants a shot at the Universal Championship at SummerSlam, which is ridiculous on my part, but whatever. I'll come back with my predictions here in just a few moments. Some titles, more titles, all titles are on the line basically. In as far as I know, first time ever. I don't ever remember seeing a tag team Iron Man match, but in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the Raw tag team titles, Cesaro and Sheamus will defend against the Hardy Boys. It's been great to see the Hardys back in WWE since WrestleMania. They're home. That's where they started. That's where they belong. Still hoping to see maybe Broken Matt. He kind of teases, kind of hints. But we'll have to see how the old lawsuit goes over there at now Global Force Wrestling Impact. We'll talk about that next week. But, I would love to see the Hardys with one more title run maybe before they settle off into the sunset, if they even settle off into the sunset. But in a 30-minute Iron Man match, tag match, it's going to be interesting. Bit of a different spin on it. The Intercontinental Championship is on the line once again as The Miz defends against Dean Ambrose. But this time The Miz will not only have his lovely wife Maryse in his corner, he will also have the Miztourage with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. So happy to see Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel being used. And Bo's getting a bit heavier, and he's starting to look more and more like his brother, Bray Wyatt. So, better watch out there, Bo. For the Raw Women's Championship, Sasha Banks will challenge the love of my life, the greatest on the roster today, men or women, Alexa Bliss, the Raw Women's Champion, and the only woman to hold both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. Can't get enough of Alexa Bliss. I'm pulling for Alexa in this match. And they announced the meet and greets that they're going to be doing Friday and Saturday at the Barclays Center before SummerSlam. I am getting my ticket for Alexa Bliss. I may get one too for Sasha Banks, depending on the old Priceola. I'm definitely getting it for Alexa Bliss. And of course, the main event, the big one, Brock Lesnar defends the Universal Championship. Mind you, his first match since winning the title at WrestleMania. Listen to a few episodes ago and you'll hear my thoughts on part-time champions. Brock Lesnar defends against the number one contender, Samoa Joe. It was at a recent episode of Table for Three with Michael P.S. Hayes, Eric Bischoff, and Jim Cornette, where Cornette said his dream main event for WrestleMania would be Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. It's not WrestleMania, not even SummerSlam. We're getting it at Great Balls of Fire. I don't know why we get these amazing main events at these throwaway pay-per-views. It happened last year when the Shield had a triple threat match for the WWE Championship like a month before SummerSlam. I mean, come on. That would have been an amazing main event for SummerSlam. It was an amazing match, but it was at a pay-per-view. I can't even remember what it was now. And that's why you got to have these big-name matches on big-name pay-per-views. But I digest. Leading up to this match, Samoa Joe has had Brock's number. And it is Samoa Joe has had some of the best mic work that he's great on the mic, don't get me wrong. But he's had some of his best work in these last few weeks since being number one contender. The way he called out Paul Heyman and put the the Coquina Clutch on Paul Heyman. The way he's been calling out Brock. The way he locked the Coquina Clutch on Brock Lesnar. Brock's face was beat red and he did not break out of it. Shows that Brock is human. And Samoa Joe may have his number this Sunday. Last week on Raw, when they had the sit-down interviews, but they were in separate rooms. And Joe was like, forget this, I'm looking for Brock Lesnar. And he was just searching the arena for Brock. And when he found him, Brock could care less. Just standing there like nothing was going on. And Samoa Joe had to be refrained, or whatever it is, detained from entering the room with Brock. Samoa Joe, no pun intended because of the pay-per-view, has been on fire since being number one contender. I am so looking forward to this main event. I know Brock is going to come out victorious, don't get me wrong. I really hope it's not a squash. I really hope they're not building up Samoa Joe to be this monster that he is just to get annihilated by Brock Lesnar. I just see Vince doing that, unfortunately, which would stink for Samoa Joe, and he wouldn't deserve that. But man's a billionaire, and everyone's gonna make bad decisions every now and again. So 4 Great Balls of Fire. Here's my predictions. Neville will retain the Cruiserweight Championship. I believe Cesaro and Sheamus is going to retain their tag team titles. The Miz, I think, will still hold on to the Intercontinental Championship. I feel Big Cass over Enzo Amore. I feel Bray Wyatt over Seth Rollins, even though usually Wyatt is the jobber in these matches. Of course, I'm always going Alexa Bliss to retain her title. Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. I don't know. But I have to pick one. I'm going to go with Roman. I'm just going to lean towards the side of caution, in all honesty. And Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe for the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar retains. And with that, no one. I don't think anyone found the feed because there's no comments or anything. But I guess that's okay. Maybe for next time. But this was me, at least at this point, 100% live. You're going to hear it on delay moving forward. But hopefully in the future, we'll be able to get some comments, get some people asking some questions, asking some thoughts, picking my brain. But in the meantime, if you haven't, go back and watch the G1 special in USA. If you aren't, make sure you go and watch WWE Great Balls of Fire. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, ProWrestlingSyndicate.com, Refuse to Lose, Saturday night, September 30th. And with that, on iTunes, on Spreaker, on YouTube, search the Pro Slam World podcast, Pro Slam World. On Facebook, of course, Pro Slam World. And hit the subscribe button anywhere you can find it, so that way you get new episodes each and every week. I know the last 2 weeks have been rough, technically. 2 weeks ago, I tried doing this live, didn't work, there was no show. Last week, apparently, the wrong mic was picking me up, so I sounded like I was in an echo chamber or something. But I think I got everything up to par this week, especially since I'm live on Spreaker. But hit the subscribe. You'll get that new episode each and every Friday when it drops. 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific. And of course, as always, support independent wrestling. I've said it before, and I'll say it each and every week. You never know who you're going to see starting their careers there, and you never know who's going to come through on their way on the tail end of their career. Either way, it's a fun time for the family, for friends, and you never know who you're going to run into. Hopefully you'll run into me. Hopefully I'll run into you. And with that, folks, thank you for joining this week. I'll catch you all next week. on the Pro Slam World Podcast.